What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Domuto. We are back with another video today. We're watching the Geek for fun. Uh, what the fuck is this? What if Goku was in DC Part 20? We got 3 more parts after this. 21. 20. So 3 more parts after this one. So damn, we about to see the end of the story, man. Damn, but there's gonna be some longer episodes in between. Then it's just it's a long one today. So make sure y'all get y'all snacks, y'all something to drink and to watch. And let's get into it, man. I'm ready. I ain't got no time to waste. Let's get into it.
The princess of the Amazons stared out from the shore towards the sunrise. She'd waited up all night after Vegeta and Kakarot left the tournament together. Steve Trevor had promised to stay awake with her, but he'd fallen asleep hours ago. The beams of the rising sun reflected off the sea. And then something brighter emerged in the distance. The Prince of all Saiyans, burning brighter than the sun itself in his Super Saiyan form. He landed on the sand and released the strain of his transformation in a burst of aura.
Ah! Damn, that's some bugle.
Diana smirked at Steve's remark, his sense of humor always breaking through even her darkest moments. But worry washed back over her as she scanned Vegeta. He was sweating, breathing heavily. His knuckles were bruised, and there was blood on his feet, sinking into the sand.
You did it, didn't you? You killed him.
The prince remained silent.
Man, he ain't kill him.
His outrage was spent. After Kakarot's revelation, his anger had exploded like a bomb. He'd spent hours after their encounter screaming into the void. Vegeta had always found Kakarot and Diana's use of weapons trivial. His hands were the only weapons he ever needed. He moved them faster than ever before, firing hundreds of ki blasts into a mountain range, reducing it to ash. But that wasn't enough for the prince. He charged up his Gallic gun and fired it at the ocean, splitting the Pacific until the beam left the earth. Yet his rage persisted, so he charged up even more. He pulled more and more power from himself, till he had nothing left.
Super Vegeta.
And he thought about what to do with this monumental beam of energy. What to do with all this anger between his fingers. He had nothing left. The power vanished as quickly as it came, and Vegeta went back to the only place he had.
He lives. For now.
The Saiyan walked away as relief washed over Diana. Steve came up to her as they watched Vegeta head towards the palace.
You see, Diana, I told you. You were right about him. You're always right. I'm seeing it myself. Guy's cocky as can be, but if he's got something to focus on, he comes around.
I know, Steve, but he's focused on Kakarot. I'm not sure he can still grow when those two bring out the worst of each other. He needs time. He needs a long time.
A long time. Alright.
I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just a bit worn out today.
They putting dates now.
I don't think I'd be very good to spar
Hold on,
against
let me
right
make this
now.
screen bigger.
You two need someone you can go all out on. Whenever I needed a good fight, I'd just head over to Metropolis. But things have been pretty quiet there. Where could we find you two a good fight?
I believe I could assist.
Bruce kicked trees. I could kick a tree.
I don't want to hurt Miss Planets don't have gender, right? Your friend Mogo.
The thought is appreciated. But I had something else in mind, friend Gohan.
From the glowing green knot on Mogo's trunk came several humanoid forms. blank-faced, green constructs of fighters. The construct dummies circled around Gohan and Cassandra and began to attack the pair. Cassandra handled them with a grace that would have looked foreign to her 9 months ago. Her style had evolved from the surgical efficiencies taught to her by Bruce and her father, David Kane.
Okay.
Gohan's growing strength turned the constructs to glimmering dust. The boy hardly had to do more than power up to scatter the energy dummies away.
Come on, Mo! You gave me way tougher glowy guys when I trained on ya!
If you insist.
Energy burst from the tree again, and this time, constructs of aliens from all over the universe were formed.
Okay.
Malicious hunters, terrifying beasts with multiple mouths, barbarians with rigid foreheads, war machines filled with hate, and many more strange creatures the planet had come across in its 9 billion years of life. The students of Kakarot Kent were put to the test now, and still, they pushed through. Now working together, Cassandra spotted weaknesses in the movements of their opponents and instructed Gohan precisely where to hit to end them. Gohan analyzed the mechanics of the tech-based creatures and helped Cassandra to disarm them. In no time at all, an army's worth of alien creatures fell before the two fighters.
Okay, Mogo. I think that's enough of a warm-up for them.
Warm up?
Agreed. These creatures reside deep within my darkest caves. If it proves too much, just yell to stop. I wouldn't want to hurt you.
Oh, shit.
Halfway across the country in Gateway City, the royal pair, Vegeta and Wonder Woman, and Argus liaison Steve Trevor fought off yet another odd grouping of supervillains. Diana had learned from failures of the past and directed her allies more appropriately this time. Steve Trevor was handling the monstrous King Shark, while Vegeta fought the latest mechanical creation of Toyman. The Amazon, however, was pushing back against a mental assault from Dr. Psycho. The Golden Perfect kept Diana from falling under his control, but his psychic attacks still allowed him glances into her mind. Wonder Woman saw flashes of her teammates at their weakest. Martian Manhunter surrounded by fire. Wally West reeling back from an explosion. Kakarot surrounded by needles and surgical equipment. Diana would not let these images of her friends in peril paralyze her. She focused her mind and was able to overpower the chauvinist psychic. The Princess of the Amazons wrapped Psycho in the lasso of truth and confronted him.
It took me weeks to unravel your so-called Get Alpha course for the mind control plot, but now you'll never be able to force women to you or your client's will again.
And I would have gotten away with 2 of those meddling Amazons than their damn beta males.
Toyman's mech crumbled to the ground next to the defeated Psycho, its pilot ejecting from the craft only to be snatched out of the air by Vegeta, who tossed him to the ground at Wonder Woman's feet.
Ah, so do I get a refund then?
Toyman received his answer as King Shark, the business manager of their schemes, joined his defeated allies on the ground.
Enjoy the next 40 minutes of sensory overload thanks to this aerosol spray the boys at Argus worked up. I call it shark repellent.
Things looked to be all wrapped up for the trio when Kakarot Kent suddenly appeared on the scene.
Kakarot?
Not Kakarot.
'Tis I, your teammate and rival, Kent Kakarot, the Monkey King of Metropolis.
Why are you talking like this?
I have unlocked a new form of Saiyan power. Witness what is to go even further. Beyond!
What the hell?
Sorry this one took so much longer than the others. I haven't had much.
Nigga, did you see Super Saiyan 2 yet?
I call it.
Wait!
Was blown to pieces in a muddy explosion by a ki blast from Vegeta.
I ought to say.
You mock our noble legends by imaging such a mockery of Saiyan evolution.
Your hair does seem to get longer when you transform.
I kind of like the whole forehead thing. Looked cool.
Silence! I will not have the ultimate potential of the Saiyan race made into a laughingstock. The battle is over. It is time to depart.
The battle is over, yes, but there remains much work to be done.
Diana gestured to the path of destruction Vegeta's battle with Toyman's mech had left behind. The Saiyan was beside himself in disbelief. He'd been promised challenges, not to become a custodian. In his mind, Vegeta had saved the people of the city from the rampaging robot. Why should he have to clean up after it too? But Wonder Woman told the prince that taking care of the people after a battle was often the most rewarding, yet hardest part of a fight.
Right.
She also said it would make for a good learning experience for Vegeta. Maybe cleaning up his own mess would teach him to take care in the next fight, to limit collateral damage instead of brazenly causing it. But to help show the prince the ropes of super battle damage control, Wonder Woman called in the League member who did it the most.
Hey, Mighty Joe Young.
Oh shit.
An eradicated future, a lone warrior of hope, and a powerful menace known as Goten Black. The story of the Goku Black Saga will never be the same, as future Trunks finds help from the most unlikely of allies, and discovers heights to his power once thought unimaginable. This is a brand new what-if story created by members of our community that you can check out on the Warp Star channel right now. Links will be in the description.
Making another message.
Two Ring wheeled its way to the area Kakarot and his students were training, making its owner's presence known.
I thought that was part of the story.
Rings of a bell.
Are you making another mess again, Skychild?
Master! It's been ages!
Only as long as it needed to be. I heard you made my brother. Apologies about that.
Kakarot brought his pupils to meet his first true master, I Ching, the blind martial artist who had taught him everything he knew about the concepts of ki.
Ooh, okay.
Kakarot tried to inform his master of all the things he had done and accomplished since that meeting, but I Ching seemed quite dismissive, instead focusing on the two children staring at him with curiosity.
Gohan and Cassandra.
Wait, how do you know our names?
Yes. How?
It's weird, right? He knows all kinds of things. I bet he could teach all three of us.
I'm on vacation. I assume Kakarot has taught you how to make orange juice. It has been a long journey.
Well, no actually.
I'll go make some now, okay?
That would be good. Try and avoid getting the little bits in the drink.
This pattern would continue for the next few days. I Ching's time at the farm included him relaxing, playing his sitar badly, engaging Mogo in board games that used to belong to Martha Kent, and falling asleep. Kakarot pestered him relentlessly at first, wishing to have his master comment on Super Saiyan, Wrath, and every new technique he'd picked up.
You already know.
But I Ching always changed the subject, insisting that he was relaxing, and asked his pupil for a drink or some food. This led Cass and Gohan to gain a bit of a negative opinion on the old man, viewing him as lazy, and not liking their own respected master being treated like a child. Still, they gave him enough respect to keep to themselves and resurrect their usual training routines. That is, until Gohan after getting knocked aside by one of Mogo's constructs, landed next to the old man's deck chair, panting in exhaustion.
Careful, almost spilled over my drink.
Oh, come on. Keep the commentary to yourself, old man. I'm not gonna let you walk all over me. I don't care who you are.
Oh,
I thought
shit.
Superboy cared about everyone.
I do, but that's not what I meant. Ah!
You are just as stubborn as your father. I'll just say this, and I'm on vacation, so you didn't hear this from me. You'll throw a much faster punch if you don't clench your fist so tightly.
Superboy flew off to intercept one of Mogo's attacks, the words of I Ching echoing in his mind, but mostly filled with annoyance at the old man's tone. He wasn't used to these spiritual types, having been raised by scientists. It was uncomfortable for him to get into that headspace. As the training session ended, Gohan was totally wiped out. Only Cassandra was able to still move and wipe herself off. Kakarot seemed to be even more tired than Gohan, despite taking a much more measured pace to this training.
Woo! Super Saiyan sure is great, but man, if it doesn't eat up stamina, it's getting much worse the stronger we get, huh, Gohan?
Nigga.
Yes. Wait, is that the problem?
Huh? What's up?
Mr. Kakarot, do we need anger to be Super Saiyans?
Well, I do at least. I always have to think of that moment.
But you don't do that when you fight in your normal form?
Oh, nah, it's a lot easier for me to just focus on the fight.
Do you think we could, and this is just a hypothesis, find a way to be like that? As a Super Saiyan?
Kakarot's eyes widened up.
Oh, shit.
Not only out of surprise, as Gohan had found a much simpler way of phrasing something that had been on his mind ever since his days training with Moga, but also at the boy, despite lacking the passion for fighting shared by Kakarot and Cassandra, having such a measured insight into the craft. Perhaps that was the key. Gohan wasn't as close to it as Kakarot was. He didn't get lost in the thrill of fighting. He could look at Super Saiyan and how they fought objectively.
I think if we work on it together, we can do anything. Alright then, how about I try to do what you do? Then we can just stop using our emotions in the extreme. I'll show you what I feel like in my normal state, and you tell me how it feels to be Super Saiyan all the time.
Yes, that could work.
That could
I Ching
work.
smiled as the words echoed in his ears. He had helped nudge the boy in the right direction. Maybe because it reminded him of those glorious years spent with Kakarot, some sense of sentimentality, and he owed him one for all Yang. But the real trick was making Kakarot move on from his own teaching and ensuring that martial arts would continue to evolve in ways beyond even I Ching's imagination.
I think he's finally moved beyond me. You must feel the same way, young planet.
Indeed, Eternal Master.
The cleanup of Gateway City commenced.
Eternal Master.
The Scarlet Speedster managed to work with all the same enthusiasm that made him so famous back home in Central City. Vegeta tried to muddle through doing as little as possible, allowing Flash to do all the heavy lifting. But after kissing Steve Trevor goodbye, Wonder Woman interrupted the two's mismatched efforts, asking Wally to slow down and show Vegeta how to remove debris instead of just doing it for him. But this ended up working quite well for the pair. Instead of Wally running large pieces of concrete across town to the landfill, Vegeta suggested just blowing them up in the upper atmosphere. So Flash began to fling blocks of rubble high into the air, charging them with Speed Force energy as Vegeta blasted them into dust like clay pigeons. Diana rolled her eyes at the fact they just turned what was meant to be a valuable lesson into a game of skeet.
Pull! Coming up!
However, the problem worked itself out as soon as they ran out of rubble to demolish, and the three were left with the harder
Hey, if
work
it works, it works.
of
You can't even be
rebuilding.
mad at that.
The sane prince could hardly turn that into a training routine. Or so Diana thought. Before Wonder Woman had realized it, Wally and Vegeta were rushing about with wheelbarrows and hand tools, reworking busted walls and shattered windows. It seemed any task she put the prince to, he found some way to turn it into either a competition or training, or both. So instead of constantly fighting against it, she pulled Wally to the side and asked him to help encourage it. So the speedster took his foot off the brakes and began to repair buildings and streets faster than the prince could comprehend. But rather than try to keep up, a different aspect of Vegeta's personality came to light. The prince began to critique and rework all of Wally's quick repairs.
Hey, I just fixed that stretch of road.
Yes, and now I'm repairing it correctly. A street is meant to be level if you were unaware.
Oh.
Is that why Central City doesn't let you help, Wally? You always told me it was because they didn't want to feel like they were asking too much of you. But can you not do the work at city standards?
Hey, oh man, I feel so dumb. Honestly, none of this work sticks in my head for long. I always just run to the library and learn how to do it and make it happen before I forget. I hope I'm not doing too bad a job.
The trio continued to help rebuild the city. The attention to detail of Vegeta and the speed of the Flash meaning they'd move beyond all the damage from the battle very quickly and began to fix potholes and other infrastructure around the city.
Yeah, they don't do this in Dragon Ball, boy. The shit destroyed. That shit
raced
destroyed.
about helping, a group of children ran to see one of the heroes of the Justice League in person.
Alright.
They gathered around Wally in a joyous manner, but suddenly ran away with a shriek when Vegeta came to talk to the speedster. Wally noticed the look of annoyance come across Vegeta's face and prepared to try and build a bridge between the prince and these kids, but he found it unnecessary as an old man came down from his porch and spoke to the children.
Hey now, don't be rude. I've been watching these two all day. That young man's been just as much help as a quick one. You go say thank you to them both now.
The kids cautiously approached the Flash and Vegeta again, meekly thanking the pair without looking up at them before running off. The Flash looked over to the old man.
Hey, thanks for that. I thought the president had just about turned everyone in the world against Curious George over here. Glad to see someone's giving the guy a chance.
Worked for a lot of bosses in my time. Never thought any of them should be president. Luthor's just another boss as far as I can tell. If he hates your friend there, guy must be okay. Boss is always wrong about something.
Oh, okay.
Given I'm responsible for the slaughter of your people, do you still imagine him being wrong?
You didn't just kill my people. My son died in Bloodhaven. He's back now, though. We all got a past. What matters is what you do in the now. Holding a grudge don't do any good.
The sane prince stared at the elderly gentleman. He felt a temptation to make some kind of sly remark, a retort to keep up his defensive barrier. But there was something about the genuine kindness of this man that cut through him. For the first time since he had heard Diana speak of love and kindness, it clicked for the prince. It wasn't some act, not some method of getting what you want. It was something more. He couldn't quite place what, though. As a sign of respect, the prince nodded at the old man, Wonder Woman looking on from a distance.
It took a long time, but it took as long as he needed it to.
The princess smiled as she felt a tug at her leg and looked down to see a small girl peering up at the Amazon from her knees.
A Pokemon character?
Hola, little sister. Why have the gods crossed our paths today?
Gohan and Kakarot were sitting beside each other, a little further out from the farm than they usually trained. They needed to be away from anything distracting. They needed total peace, the sound of crickets surrounding them at all sides, the harmony of the wind flowing through the crops enveloped them. Dew droplets falling onto the ground echoed at the edge of their consciousness. Kakarot's mind flashed through all the battles he had gone through till now, each of them won only by his determination and rage. But it failed him now. It was killing him just staying in this state for as long as he had, and he wasn't sure how long he could hold out before letting Gohan know. But he had to try. He had to make sure he could teach the boy everything he knew before he was gone. With his initial plan of death by Vegeta no longer in the cards, this was Kakarot's only other solution, and it was making the end come faster than he expected. Darkness now replaced all the sounds surrounding Kakarot, the pure pitch black of defeat. Then, suddenly, he saw Lady Shiva. Her dangerous smile, her piercing glare. Was it Shiva? Or did she stand for the path he'd walked on all this time? The path of martial arts. Beside her, he saw Cassandra and Gohan. These two children. He cared for them and was so proud of them both. He hadn't had enough time with either of them. How could he abandon them when there were still so many more adventures left? They were waiting on him, trusting him, to make sure they were ready to face any threats that would come to the Earth. If he couldn't break through this barrier, he was condemning them to failure. That's when he realized.
No! It's still rage! At myself!
Kakarot looked over to his son, and was shocked to find that the boy was in an even deeper state of meditation, his Super Saiyan hair flowing down and turning black.
Oh!
I feel... Wow. I'm so happy! Mr. Kakarot! Am I normal now?
Kakarot pulled Gohan into a hug and let the young Saiyan release all the built-up emotions his Super Saiyan form had stopped him from expressing before.
Hey, it's okay, Gohan. Don't worry. You really are a lot better than me, ain't ya? That whole feeling stuff. You feel it with your whole heart. Maybe it's because I hit my head around that spot of dirt right there when I was just a baby. Or maybe because I'm a Saiyan. But I always kind of just switch from one emotion to the other on the fly. I don't feel them like you do. I guess I'm not a very good person, huh?
It makes you strong, though. I'm too soft.
Nah, I'm proud of you, Gohan. I'm happy you're so sensitive. You're a really good person. You're gonna change the whole world one day. More than I ever could, that's for sure.
Mr. Kakarot.
Now come on! I'm starving! Let's get some food!
Okay. Are you going to power down now?
Kakarot looked up and touched his hair. It was still Super Saiyan. And he hadn't even noticed. He wasn't in pain anymore. Though his rage was gone completely, the golden power was still there. His Super Saiyan energy continued to flow, fueled not by momentary anger or his ego, but by a deeper, purer emotion that didn't ebb or wane. The feeling he felt when holding and consoling his son. The flames still raged around him, but he didn't feel them. His golden aura pushed them away smoothly, now flowing, unhindered, and effortless. The barrier was gone. Once again, Kakarot's limits had been broken.
Okay,
Back in
Kakarot.
Gateway City, Wonder Woman and Vegeta were flying high above the skyscrapers, while Flash darted between buildings. The little girl that asked Wonder Woman for help claimed her friend Olive had vanished, and no one could find her. It took some convincing, but Diana finally managed to get Vegeta on board to search for the girl. But after a while of searching, they had little luck, until Wonder Woman remembered going on a similar mission with Kakarot. Kakarot had been able to sense a single soul in a vast wilderness, just by focusing. Certainly Vegeta, being a Saiyan too, could manage the same feat.
That skill is new to me.
But you can do it?
Only for strong powers. A small child will hardly register above the rest of the rabble.
Back home, you could sense Steven's fear of you. You used it against him. A child is lost in this concrete jungle. She must feel terrified. Certainly you can sense something as strong as that.
It was Trevor's smell, but they're not dissimilar. Fine, I shall attempt the clown's trick. If it's something Kakarot can do, then I will simply surpass him by executing it better.
Alright.
Vegeta closed his eyes and
That nigga
focused
Vegeta just
his
be roasted
mind,
for no reason.
reaching out across the city, finally pushing the limits of this key sensing power he'd learnt from his battle on Earth. And as soon as the prince opened his mind, no, his soul, to sense everything, he sensed everything. At first the surface, the most extreme examples, the pain and anger of those in this one city. But instantaneously, it went deeper than that. He felt the joy, the love in the hearts of those below him. It was overwhelming to reach out and touch the lives of others. He kept reaching, focusing more, growing deeper in spiritual thought. This was the exact opposite of everything he had ever learned. Then, his mind wandered to the darkness.
There is only one force in the universe. One power. One will.
What the fuck?
Speak it.
Dark side is.
Dark side is. Dark side is.
Correct. Individuality is a lie. You've come far under my tutelage. The time is upon you to spread the will of Darkseid out into the universe, to eliminate the guise of free will from the cosmos and replace it with the one truth of creation. Speak it.
Dark side is.
Dark side is. Dark side is.
The memory stirred a rage within Vegeta, the true scope of the lies he'd been raised under now breaking down before him. And it was this sudden burst of rage that let him connect to the heart of a small, lost child in a dark city. The prince shot off towards what he sensed, leaving a golden trail of energy for Wonder Woman and Flash to hastily follow. As suddenly as he'd flown off, Vegeta came to a stop, causing the Amazon and the Scarlet Speedster to circle back to his position. The prince pointed down at a wide park and at a small child who climbed up a tree for the night.
I must have run past her 100 times. Didn't think to look up at all.
She must be so scared right now.
No. She's burning. Her rage lights up that tree like it's ablaze.
Wonder Woman looked to her ally. It seemed that sensing the girl had sparked something in Vegeta, and though it was still against her better judgment, as it always was with the prince, Diana knew there was only one person who could go help the girl. The question was whether or not he'd be up to this task.
Your form is born from rage. You claim she shares it. Can you calm her mind so we can take her home?
Vegeta didn't even look at Diana as he floated down towards the tree. the light from his aura casting dancing shadows about the park. The child looked up
Boy,
and
hell
attempted to
no.
climb down, but he vanished and reappeared in
Look at
front
that
of
pan.
her.
You've been found. Now prepare to be taken home.
Vegeta was shocked at the brazen remark
I was
from the
expecting that.
child. His aura cutting away briefly, the shock on his face, and the sudden pop of ki
that.
causing the
That
girl
was
to
crazy.
reel back in fear, losing her grip on the branch and falling from the tree. Before she could hit the ground, Vegeta moved and caught her by the arm. He lowered her gently to the ground, but kept hold of her wrist, not too tightly, but wanting to make sure she wouldn't run off. She tugged a few times, then stopped, and looked at the Saiyan with tears in her eyes.
I don't want to go home. I'm running away.
Well, you've managed well so far. I'm the only one who could find you. I ran away once too. Inform me why you're running, and if I
Kakarot,
like your
little
reason
typo,
enough,
sorry.
I'll let you go.
My brother, Derek. He's mean. He held me down and spit in my eye. I don't want to live
That's
there
a
anymore.
nasty ass nigga, ain't he?
So you're just going to flee? Have some pride. You should go back and show strength.
But he's so much bigger than me. I'm little and not big. I can't beat him up.
Hit him in the throat then. Doesn't matter how big they are, everyone needs to breathe.
The girl looked up in shock. Every adult she'd gone to about this had told her useless platitudes, that was just how older brothers were, that she should just deal with it and keep on. But here, she'd been given a strategy. She nodded her head at the prince. He bent down and scooped her up, taking directions to her house.
That was...
Horrifying?
Well, yes, that too.
Yeah.
But I was going to say sweet.
That
While
was
I
wild.
Ching and Mogo enjoyed their regular board game session, Kakarot, Cass, and Gohan were having a movie night. Cassandra's pick. This was in fact a new form of training, as the two Saiyans were now staying in Super Saiyan, trying to acclimate to being in the state with no drawbacks. Gohan, however, hadn't been doing it in the same way as Kakarot. He had found his base form. This had been an incredible relief. The boy slept in most days and skipped a lot of training, but it did wonders for his mental health. The rage in his mind and conditioning no longer at the forefront, fading into the background as he was able to breathe in peace. Kakarot did insist that he varied between Super Saiyan and his normal form in order to master it like he was doing, but he was mostly just keeping the young Saiyan on the right track. Superboy was in truth much further along than even his master.
Yeah.
Luke, you do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover your power.
Okay.
Cassandra looked up at Kakarot. She'd seen this moment countless times. She knew what was coming up, and without realizing it, she was raising some questions of her own. Kakarot had shown her such kindness, and they were so similar in so many different ways. And that night, when Shiva was here...
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
David Kane had raised her to be a weapon. For so long, she just assumed he was her biological father.
Darth Vader shit.
But maybe it didn't have to be that way. What if she didn't have to be doomed by blood? She wouldn't have to view herself as a mistake, a baby born only to be a tool.
It's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Whoa! He's his paw? But he's not even a robot guy!
I was raised in a lab and I knew about this. How weren't you spoiled?
After the film, the trio headed to bed.
Oh, they're watching Star Wars.
But Cassandra was
I just
struggling
realized
to clear her
Oh,
mind.
what the fuck going on?
before. All night, she stared up at the ceiling, searching her feelings, hoping that this hunch could be right. After the morning's training, she would ask Kakarot, even if it meant being wrong, being kicked out of the farm, abandoned, and hurt again. She had to know.
Does he have a moustache?
I do not know.
You two still playing that game, huh? Neat. Want to see me and Gohan try something out?
Go ahead. Neither of us are going to win this.
Kakarot and Gohan readied up next to each other, and on his mark, Gohan went from his base form to his Super Saiyan state, as Kakarot let his Super Saiyan aura appear. The two began to power up, but their expressions didn't change. They looked just like how they did in their base forms, but the power was mind-boggling. Their previous limits were burned away in their calm flame, as their energy raced further and further,
Super Saiyan Grade 4?
seemingly without end.
Okay, that's enough. Great job.
Oh, but I didn't even get started though.
Now that's exciting.
Excuse me. Talk?
Oh, sure, Kaz. Sorry if you felt left out. I know I can only do this Saiyan stuff with Gohan. What's up?
Talk alone?
Cassandra held Kakarot by the hand, leaving a confused Gohan to return to his base state, and hang out with Iching and Mogo.
What's the matter? I didn't mean to focus only on Gohan, but there is something I want to test you on.
No, not that. My mother.
Shiva, right? I was pretty surprised when I found that out. She can be pretty mean sometimes.
Yes, but then you. Are you my father?
Huh? Oh, nope. I think you were born way before me and Shiva ever did the baby making thing.
I see. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to be your father? Because, Kaz, I think you'd be the best kid.
Cassandra's eyes were on the verge of tears at such a sudden, genuine display of honest affection, and she leaped into Kakarot's arms for a hug, the gentle Saiyan spinning her around, then consoling her
with
a pat on the head.
You be turning Super Saiyan.
They were an
shit.
unlikely pair. Despite having no blood ties, they had already forged the bond of a father and his daughter. Bruce's plan had finally come to fruition. He had ensured, all that time ago, that she would always have a father.
Thank you. Thank you, Father.
Now I've got a daughter and a son. That's pretty crazy. I guess I gotta get you a gift to make up for all the birthdays. I gave Gohan some Super Saiyan training and a name, but I think I got just the thing.
Kakarot puffed up his chest and then whistled, summoning his Cloud Somersault and placing his Ryu Jingu Bang on top of it. He was sentimental about his trusted companions, but knew that if he was going to die soon, even with this new mastered Super Saiyan giving him more time, there was only one person who deserved to wield them.
I got these when I was a little younger than you, but they helped me take down a lot of stronger guys. I think they'd help you too.
Wow, so cool! Thank you, Father. Dad. My pa.
You're really excited about that. Well then, go take him for a spin.
With a nod, Cassandra hopped on top of the cloud and with a dramatic flurry, blasted out the front door, did a circle around Gohan, Mogo and I Ching, then took off to the sky. Gohan, in excitement, followed her for a little bit, before even he lost track of how fast she was looping circles around the boy. Kakarot looked up, saw that she wasn't even looking. All that skill was finally paired with what he was trying to teach her. She was sensing ki without even realizing it. The acceptance of Kakarot as her adoptive father had unlocked the last mental barrier in her mind.
Hey, Kaz! What do you feel up there?
I can feel, sense, everything. Wow, this energy.
With a target in mind, Cassandra flew towards a very familiar energy source, driving through the mountains of Gotham.
Is there no one left who can light a fire in the heart of the air to the bat? All my foes have fallen before me with ease. I wish for a true challenge,
that Damien?
but it is impossible.
Woohoo!
What? Cassandra Kane?
Hey, I'm Cassandra Kakarot now.
She believes she can challenge me to a race while riding a cloud? Interesting.
Whee!
That cornering is ridiculous. Does she have a death wish, or does she trust her machine that much?
Yay!
This is stupid.
But this turn will show whose machine is superior. Here it comes.
Yay!
Back in Gateway City, Vegeta drops Little Olive off at her home. He watched as the girl ran inside, straight past terrified parents, and decked her older brother straight in the throat. The boy falling to the ground instantly as she began to kick him. The prince smiled as he turned to see Flash and Wonder Woman approach. Diana smiled at the prince before going to do damage control with Olive's family. She'd ensure that this incident wouldn't need to repeat itself.
That was honestly pretty cool. You're coming around, man. I'm happy to see it.
That doesn't mean anything. If I'm lucky, she'll keep improving and I'll have a challenge one day.
Yeah, sure. Speaking of, back when we fought, you laid me out good. But you said if I knew how to fight, I would have been more dangerous. Did you mean that?
Your speed is unprecedented, but you use it like a buffoon. If you focused your attacks better, you'd be near unstoppable.
Thanks, I think. Listen, while you're preparing future challengers and all, would you maybe teach me a few things? Kakarot's tried in the past, but he's all into spiritual mumbo-jumbo. I think you're more my speed.
You would be a good target to learn to hit. Why not? But don't expect me to go easy on you.
Wouldn't dream.
Aw, this is getting cute.
As Wonder Woman came back to join the pair, she felt a sense of happiness in the air. Maybe they'd finally turned a final corner. But Vegeta gasped. His mood changed as soon as he could feel it. Gohan and Kakarot's display of power. Their attempt to push themselves. He was sensing it now, and it overshadowed him in ways he could scarcely imagine. Suddenly, the prince was filled with a new rage. This had all been a distraction. He had wasted so much time on this meaningless display. Darkseid was right.
What's wrong?
While I've fretted my time away with you two, I'm being surpassed by a corpse!
At that, the prince shot off towards the horizon. He would not let this stand. He'd train, and he'd catch back up with what he just felt. He had to. He'd waste no more energy on fruitless exercises like he had today. His focus could not be stolen again. The prince raced across the night sky as a new moon was born.
Oh shit. Alright, this is a fire chapter. I like this one. You know, it was a chill chapter. Nothing too major happened, but yeah, this was a cool little chapter. I'm waiting to see them. I guess is Darkseid pulling up? I want to see that. We got 3 episodes left. I don't know if Darkseid pulling up. It's gonna be an all-out battle against that nigga. I don't know. But anyway, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. I'm trying to get to 1,500 by the end of the year. Make sure y'all check out the last chapter right here. Or check out this video right here if you wanted to enjoy it. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.